It's another edition of Monday Night Sports Talk here on the airnetwork.net. Reaching out to Central Pennsylvania and the world tonight via the internet and, of course, mobile devices on TuneIn Radio. Joining us live from Altoona, Pennsylvania, we've got Dave Shannon. From Huntington, PA, it's Chad States. And from down around the Philadelphia area, we've got Jimmy Ty. All the guys together tonight again on Monday Night Sports Talk. I'm Greg Banks in the studio. Hey, first of all, Jimmy, how you doing today?
Awesome, man. Awesome.
All right, Dave, and then Chad.
Oh, it's a beautiful day in Pennsylvania.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Chad, how you doing?
Doing good, Greg.
All right.
No issues.
Dave was talking about the weather, and here it is, November the 7th, man. We couldn't ask for better weather. Probably a month from now, we will be, of course, shoveling out cars, but that's down the road. Let's talk about shoveling, period, yesterday. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Baltimore Ravens. As always, Baltimore playing us like as if it's a Super Bowl. My only problem is, and then you guys can jump in, we'll start with Dave, I don't think Ben should have even come back, man. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't hear he was coming back until maybe Friday, and what was that all about, man?
Well, it wasn't definite until 11 o'clock yesterday morning, but and according to the announcers, he took 50% of the snaps, and Landry Jones took the other 50% of the snaps during practice during the week. Here's the thing, and, you know, off weeks, bye weeks are normally a good thing for a team. I have never seen a team come out on the field like the Steelers did, and it was virtually as though they did not get off the bus until the fourth quarter. Nothing looked right about that football team until the fourth quarter. How in God's name can you be going to Baltimore to play the Ravens and not be ready to play from the get-go? But they sure as heck weren't. And you're talking about Ben, Greg, and I got to agree with you that, you know, for three quarters, he did not look like Ben Roethlisberger. Suddenly in the fourth quarter, he was himself again. Now, I don't know if they shot him up and it took that long for it to wear off, you know, and he, you know, got his senses back, but he was completely different in the fourth quarter than what he was during the rest of the game. Had they played the game the entire length, the way they played the fourth quarter, they win that game about 38-20. 21.
You're right. You know, I had to think, Chad, as I watched that game, and you stopped over for a little while because we were all disappointed. Balls being dropped, I mean, in your hand. So I can't blame everything yesterday on Ben. I mean, obviously, there were some other problems there. We'll talk about those later. But what are your thoughts on that game?
Well, I mean, Le'Veon Bell couldn't run the football, so the offensive line was terrible. Ben was throwing behind receivers. They were dropping balls. The passing game was terrible.
Yeah.
You know, Dave's right. It's one of these games where, you know, the Steelers and the Ravens, you don't know what you're going to get. Well, I don't think any of us expected that. That was a whole bunch of crap. That, I mean, just what I tell you when I showed up after they got the punt blocked.
Yeah.
I was done. That was it. I put that game away. I didn't watch another second of it. It was just so gut-wrenching. I think this is what the NFL wants, though, guys.
Oh, come on.
This is parity. This is parity where two teams that aren't evenly matched, and Pittsburgh is far superior roster-wise than what Baltimore is, play an evenly matched football game. This is the product the NFL wants us to see, and it's flat-out disgusting.
Well, Jimmy, I'm watching that game yesterday. That defense for the Ravens looked like it was like the best defense in the world. And we all know, had maybe Brown gotten the ball, perhaps Le'Veon Bell held onto the ball, could get out around the edges, and even if Jesse James held onto the ball, that would have been a different outcome altogether yesterday.
Yeah, it would have been. If you look at the stats, Le'Veon had only 32 yards in rushing. That's not a Le'Veon Bell performance.
No.
Jesse James only had 2 receptions, 13 yards. That's not a Jesse James, you know, and like Dave was saying about Roethlisberger, who knows what happened with him. It was just one of them games where we didn't even get off the bus. Like, who cares, you know, but it's the Ravens, and it's Raven week.
Right.
And it's one of them games that Pittsburgh should have been hyped up for. It's not like Pittsburgh playing against, like, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or whoever.
The Cleveland Browns.
Or big rival.
Yeah, there's another one. Cincinnati Bengals, Browns. I mean, come on.
This is a game. These are games that you got to win if you want to win your division first off and make the playoffs.
Oh, now we're all tied.
Games.
We're all tied now, I believe, with the Ravens and also with the Bengals now. Having said that, Chad, as I'm watching that game yesterday, and I know you bailed out probably in the second half, and I did stick with it because there were some things that happened during that game that were just downright amazing. But let me go back. I'm watching. I didn't see Pouncey out on the field to start with. That was something that and the other thing is the offensive line. The defense of the Ravens were on Ben all afternoon. What happened? Where was the breakdown?
Coaching. I mean, you got to blame the coaches on some of this too.
Yeah,
they didn't have those guys prepared. I mean, they were lethargic from snap number 1 through snap number 63.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with coaching too. I don't know, Greg, that's one of those games where you sit back and think, man, I can't get that 45 minutes of time ever back in my life. It was that awful.
Oh, yeah.
And it was. It was so bad that, there's a team that has, Super Bowl aspirations. That's got the greatest offense in the NFL,
right.
This, that, or whatever. And come out and laid not just one rotten egg, but 11 rotten eggs on offense, and it was so bad.
You know what was bad about it too?
Know how you recover from it because you got isn't it Cleveland this week?
No, you got Dallas this week. You got Dallas this week.
It's Dallas this week?
Yeah.
Oh dear goodness gracious.
That's what I'm talking about. Now here's a sad
thing. Good luck there.
Yeah, here's a sad thing, Dave. As I was watching that, I also looked at Ben. He was wanting Haley to call in the signals quicker. And here again, I do believe with his veteran, of course, his savvy, that Ben could have called that game without the help of Haley. But here again, there's a momentum problem. I'm working with Landry Jones all week only for you to announce that Ben's coming in at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. Something was a problem there, and I got to agree with Chad. That goes back to the coaches.
Well, yeah. Preparedness, it is... when you're talking about you're playing for your postseason at this point, and everybody wants to get into the postseason. Now they've managed to take themselves from being maybe the North Division champion to being that team that's sitting around at the end of the season watching the scoreboard because they need help from the New York Jets so that they can get into the playoffs. They can sneak into the playoffs. And, and here's the thing. Pouncey was out there, Greg. He took 2 snaps and he went right into the locker room.
Right.
Came back out, took a few more snaps, and that was it. He was done. Here's the deal. Marquise Pouncey, I love him. He is great, but he has to go.
Oh, he's injury prone.
He is getting a big salary,
right,
and he cannot play more than half a season.
He's another Tony Romo, man, as far as I'm concerned. Now, let me ask, we were all talking at the beginning of the season, not just us, but it was, of course, being bandied around on every sports show imaginable that the Steelers had the team that could get to the Super Bowl. That's probably not going to happen. It's 4-4 right now. But I'm watching this game yesterday, and I said this is going to be the low light of the sports shows on Monday when Bagwell tried that kick. When he tried that kick. Now, I want to go round robin and get your thoughts. You've all seen it on the highlights or low light tapes. What the hell was he thinking, Jimmy? Why was he kicking an onside kick like trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do. What in the hell was that?
He was practicing for the river dance. What do you think? That's the river dance. You know what I mean?
He should have been, oh my God.
River dance.
He should have been twerking then. Just like Antonio Brown.
Yeah, twerking, or the Irish, whatever, the Irish jig thingy, whatever that is.
I'd have fired that guy on the spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but to get back to your question about Super Bowls and all that, we were talking the other day at work, me and my buddy Moses, the Godfather, we were talking about the Super Bowl, and he's a huge Cowboys fan, so
yeah,
it's going to be a lot of smack talk at work this week, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we were talking about the Super Bowl, and we're like, who's going to make the Super Bowl? And I said, with the way Pittsburgh's looking right now with their losses and all that, it's not going to be Pittsburgh. It's going to be New England.
Yeah.
Right? First off.
In Dallas.
and in the second pick, it's going to be the Cowboys. The Cowboys are the hottest team right now in the NFL, and for Pittsburgh to be losing 3 straight, whatever it is, right?
Right.
To go against a hot quarterback like Dak Prescott and Jason Witten and all them guys, it's not going to look pretty for Pittsburgh in Heinz Field. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, we already know that.
They're going to come in and just destroy the Steelers.
Well, here's something.
They're just going to destroy the Steelers.
Right, Monday Night Sports Talk on the airnetwork.net. Chad States in Huntington, Dave Shannon in Altoona, and Jimmy Ty in the Philadelphia area. Dave, getting back to that unseemingly kick of whatever it was, is that something that this guy practiced? I mean, I'm sure a reporter asked him what he was thinking after he did
I know
that.
what he was thinking. It was just his execution was, I mean, what he wanted to do was fake the Ravens into thinking he was going one direction to the kick the kick, when in fact he was trying to go in the other direction.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he decided to do that with his feet rather than his body. You can fake a team out with your body in the way you approach the football.
Right.
And kick it, in a direction opposite of what they're thinking. But for whatever reason, he thought he was going to pull off this fancy footwork move. And maybe he has been able to do that. I don't see their practices.
No, that's
and I
true.
know, special teams is, they do work on onside kicks.
Yeah.
You have to. If you're going to play in the NFL, you have to have that as part of your repertoire.
I wonder how many times they worked on that one. But, Chad, real quick, you watched it. The whole world watched it. Now it's a big joke, not just the internet, but also on sports shows tonight. We'll just get one more comment from you. If, let's say, a Bearcat did that, Mike Hootie probably would bench this guy. What happens to this guy now? What do you think that conversation was like? Because I noticed he was nowhere near Tomlin when he went back to the sidelines.
I don't think you even need to have a conversation with him. I mean, silence is worse than even having a conversation sometimes.
Yeah, true that. Yeah.
I mean, it's again, who knows what he was thinking, but who knows what the whole entire team was thinking Sunday. That was just, the game was so bad, and that was the game in a microcosm right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole Steelers' problems were wrapped up in one little play that'll be remembered, just like the butt fumble, for crying out loud.
Oh, my God,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. Just, Pittsburgh should hang itself in shame this week for, making us as fans endure that type of game. That should have never, ever happened. Not with this team.
Yeah, Dave, what was that?
You know what? This is the problem with Tomlin.
Okay.
Tomlin's teams play to the level of their competition. Every single year, he's got bad beats on his record. Miami is a bad loss. Baltimore is a bad loss. And there's something about Tomlin and his coaching style that predicates this to happening every single year.
Yeah. How much longer do you think that will go, Dave, as far as, somebody in the inner office there, the Rooney family, somebody has to be saying, Miami, the Jets, now Baltimore. Come on, Mike. You need to do something. I know you're under contract, but they got to be thinking, man, especially after that debauchery yesterday. How do you have a veteran quarterback come approach you and say, Coach, I think I'll be ready to go? When, in fact, we watched the guy, he's as rusty as hell. But a lot of people were saying, well, Ben had to start with the Baltimore Ravens because he's got the Cowboys this week. What's the mindset there, Dave?
I think the mindset was that they watched him during practice and they thought that he was a more acceptable option than what Landry Jones was. And so they made up their mind and they thought they'd play a little bit of a game. There's that showmanship and trying to confuse the Baltimore Ravens and their preparedness for the game. And it obviously had no effect on them at all. Here's the thing about Ben, and it's watch his eyes, watch his head. And this happened in the previous game that we talked about when he actually had the injury. And, the way he was looking, he was not looking. He is a 5-receiver look.
Right.
The normal Ben Roethlisberger drops back and looks at 5. different guys before he lets go of the football. Now, some of that's predicated on whether the offensive line is doing its job as well.
Plus, he's got Bell coming out of the backfield now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, and that was a big loss yesterday. Not being able to establish a running game really hurt them because and here's a question I have for everybody too. Why is it that the Ravens came out with Webb at the beginning of the game who's ripping off yardage like 9-10 yards a carry on the ground, and they just went away from that? Did Pittsburgh's defense adjust that well to it, or did Baltimore just walk away from that? That was weird to me.
Wow.
You have a guy that's ripping off big gains like that, and all of a sudden you start to pass when it's obvious to me something is wrong with Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
He is not the guy that he normally is.
No, he's not the old Flacco. We know that. Yeah, obviously.
No.
Yeah, so there are some problems there.
Yeah, why you would walk away when your running game's going that well? Why do you walk away from that, guys? I don't know.
Hey, listen, we're going to chalk that one up to a loss and maybe an education. Chad, how do you get ready for the Dallas Cowboys this week when you have limited practice sessions because of the CBA? I mean, what do you do? How do the Steelers rebound now?
Well, I mean, one thing is they better work on timing patterns with Ben coming back and his receivers. They have to get that down for sure.
Right.
The second thing is they better start looking at tape and looking at it hard and figuring out a way that we've got to change the way we're doing things because the NFL is starting to figure out our offense. And I think that was kind of visible there against Baltimore.
Obviously, yeah.
They might have to throw in some trick plays. They might have to do something. I don't know. Dallas is a very good football team, and they run a great ball-controlled offense that keeps your offense on the sidelines. I don't know that they can win this football game playing the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks.
Well, one good thing.
I don't know that there's anything they can do.
One good thing, Jimmy, they will be at home taking on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. But having said that, Cowboys have a lot of weapons, man. I mean, they've got guys in the backfield. They've got Prescott, who's a pretty even-handed quarterback. They've got guys coming out of the ends. I mean, I don't know, man.
Dallas is an amazing team. Everybody looks at Ezekiel Elliott. What was he, like the fourth pick of the draft?
Oh, yeah.
Or the third pick of the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a stud at Ohio State. He was good at Ohio State. He's 10 times better at the Cowboys because of that offensive line.
How about that?
The Cowboys have the best offensive line in the NFL, first off. And nobody knew who Dak Prescott was unless you watch SEC football in Mississippi State.
Which I did, yeah.
This guy, Prescott, is an amazing. Rain Dakota Prescott's his name. I found that out this week from talking to a Cowboys fan.
Wow.
But anyways, Rain Dakota, let's call him. He's amazing. And then you have the veteran and Jason Witten. He never misses a game.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing, but for Pittsburgh to win this game, let's say if they do win it.
Yeah.
If you ever notice, when Pittsburgh is on a roll, Ben calls his own plays in the huddle. He doesn't wait for Haley. He calls his own plays, right?
Yeah.
That's what Pittsburgh needs to do to win the game. And to talk about Baltimore, go back to Baltimore. Baltimore's not a good offense, but their defense is stellar. It is stellar. And that kick, we all talk about the kick. Boswell did that kick many times in college.
Well, it didn't work yesterday.
Times at Rice University.
Hey, all it takes is one time to do something stupid like that among 70,000 fans plus millions on TV, man. I bet you won't try it again.
No, but with the Cowboys, man, it's not going to be pretty. The only thing that we have going for us, the only thing that Pittsburgh has going for them right now
They'll be at home.
We are at Heinz Field. We have the home field on our side. We're not in fancy Cowboy Stadium or AT&T Field area, it's called down there.
Right.
So that's what we have going for us. But, the Cowboys have been running through their division.
Right.
They've been running through the NFL. It's not going to look pretty for the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. Cowboys.
Right.
Even though I'm not a Cowboys fan, the Cowboys are going to totally destroy Pittsburgh if Pittsburgh plays like they did the past 3 weeks.
Monday Night Sports Talk. I haven't even mentioned Tony Romo, and I won't because I won't even acknowledge him until Prescott runs out of steam, Dave. If you had to predict the outcome of the game coming up on Sunday, what do you think?
Cowboys 41, Steelers 21.
Okay, Chad, and then Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Dave said. It's going to be a blowout.
All right, and Jimmy, any kind of indication on what that score might look in that blowout on Sunday at 4 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a little bit of a closer score. Cowboys 35, Pittsburgh 13.
All right, Monday Night Sports Talk here on the airnetwork.net. Jimmy Ty, along with Dave Shannon and Chad States, Greg Banks in the studio. Penn State, by the way, looking good in the Big Ten. Could they have a Heisman Trophy candidate? And how about Pitt? Where's the defense? Where's the beef? It's all coming up next on Monday Night Sports Talk. Huntington Moose Family Center 223 is the heart of the community. Becoming a member of the Huntington Moose enables you to join friends who have served the community for over 100 years. Support the women of the Moose and their upcoming hoagie sale. Freshly made hoagies, only $6. Order yours now for a November 10th delivery. The Huntington Moose Family Center 223, serving the community with the best value in town. Like us on Facebook.
Pennsylvania Highlands Community College provides you the option to earn an associate degree, diploma, or certificate at an affordable cost. The Penn Highlands Huntington Center, located on Margie Drive in Huntington, offers degree programs in business management, criminal justice, liberal arts and sciences, and psychology. Are you ready to take the next step on your career path? Contact Penn Highlands Huntington at 814-643.
Enjoy hours of relaxing golf at the beautiful Huntington Country Club on Route 26 South, Racetown Road, Huntington. The public course offers 18 holes of challenging golf for all levels of golfers. Become a new member of the Huntington Country Club and you'll receive unlimited golf at a discount of $100 off your selected package for 2017. The Huntington Country Club, the county's premier public golf course. Call 627-0631 for more information or follow us on Facebook.
Brenneman's Meat Markets are celebrating nearly 70 years in providing Huntington County with quality USDA-approved processed pork, chicken, and beef products. Brenneman's has 2 locations in the county where the tradition of the finest meats are found in the region. Stop by Brenneman's Huntington weekdays from 8 to 6, Saturdays 8 to 3. Mount Union, open 9 to 5 weekdays and 9 to 2 on Saturdays. Choose specials of $10 to $50 meat packs containing your favorite meats. Or stop by and ask about our select custom cuts, prepared and packaged while you wait. Brenneman's Meat Markets in Huntington and Mount Union. Call our office at 814-643-2751 for specials and more information.
It's Monday Night Sports Talk on the airnetwork.net. Greg Banks in the studio. Jimmy Ty, Philadelphia area. Dave Shannon, Altoona. And Chad States weighing in from Huntington, Pennsylvania. The home of the Huntington Bearcats, who, by the way, take on Central coming up on Friday night in District 6 AAA playoff action, quarterfinal action. Airtime 6:40, and the kickoff at 7 o'clock on Friday. Chad, we'll talk about that Bearcat victory coming up in just a few moments here on the Monday night edition of Monday Night Sports Talk. But first, Penn State Nittany Lions, man, they blew out Iowa 51-20. I think it was 51-28, 51-25. Is this a thing that we've all been waiting for? We got everybody in control, and it's just going to happen in the Big Ten for the Nittany Lions now, Chad?
It's confidence. Obviously I didn't get to see the game because I was calling the game on Saturday night at Huntington versus Forest Hills. But
That's right.
I did see the highlights. But one thing that you have seen this team do is build confidence. They got it in the Minnesota game when they came back and won it in overtime. And it has just steamrolled through this team. Franklin has recruited very well. It's just a matter of getting the depth behind it to make sure that this team is able to come on a rise. And now you see his players playing in this new offense under Joe Moorhead do an outstanding job. Saquon Barkley is a legitimate Heisman Trophy finalist. He won't win the award, but he should be in New York for his gameplay this year. But this team exudes confidence, and when they have confidence in themselves and in each other as a team, the sky's the limit. They're favored in all 3 of these ball games. You're looking at a 10-2 football team that's going to make a New Year's 6-day bowl game, and who would have thunk that at the beginning of the year?
Man, you know what? It's unreal, Dave. Saquon Barkley, you had mentioned him and called on him early in this season. This guy's probably the front runner in the Big Ten now, and as Chad said, he's a possibility, maybe a long shot Heisman Trophy. but their defense is reminiscent now of the days of yore. Back when we had linebacker U, I don't know. It looks like it's coming back, Dave.
Well, and that's obviously, as Chad said, this is a matter of the group that Coach Franklin put together finally starting to gel. They've had enough games underneath them, and I like Chad's theory, too, that the Minnesota game was what really launched this team on its successful road, and now there's no obstacle in front of them, really, and they should end up being 10-2. Here's the one thing that I will say, as I recall watching the early season games versus what they do now, is Trace McSorley running the football. That was not a big part of the initial offense at the beginning of the season. Since they implemented that, and since McSorley seems to, I'd be scared to death because kid's a pretty good quarterback, and he's not that big, and I'd be scared to death to be calling his number to run the football just on the chance that something might happen to him. But he's pretty durable. I mean, he took some pretty healthy hits in the game on Saturday against Iowa, and it was no problem for the young man. And to me, he's the guy offensively that's made the biggest difference in this football team. He's getting better in the option play, too.
Right.
The way he can fake in the option play, he's gotten really good at that as the season has progressed. And I'm on Chad's side, and they will play in a more premier. I thought they were going to, be destined for another Astro Blue Bonnet Bowl
or the Pinstripe Bowl again.
In
New York.
Nope, they're going to go to one of the better bowls, no doubt about it.
Hey, Jimmy, Dave had mentioned McSorley. This guy's a dual threat because he looks like he's comfortable in the pocket, but he's also raring to run. I mean, I imagine, Dave, and I can't even recall a Penn State quarterback that has led his team this diligently this early in the game for him. So having said that, Jimmy, your thoughts on Penn State? What you hearing? Because I know you people down east still love Penn State because really, I mean, you can't hang your hat on Temple, can you?
Well, maybe. No, but first off, Barkley is an overrated college football player.
What?
No, just wait.
Underrated.
His biggest game of the year came against the worst team in the Big Ten.
Okay.
In Purdue. Purdue hasn't won a game all year.
All
and everybody's like, oh, Sharkey Barkley. Oh, yeah. He's overrated. Let's see him play against a school, let's say, like Clemson. Let's see him play against Alabama to see how good he does. If he can play a school against Alabama, if he can play at Clemson, let's see how good he can do there.
Well, hold that thought before you go any further. Hold your thought. Think of what you're going to say. Chad, you agree with him? And then Dave?
No. He put up 200 yards against Ohio State last year. There's no way I agree with him.
That was last
the guy
year.
Well, wait a second. He did well this year.
That's part of it. I mean, he's able to do it against the good teams. He almost had 100 yards rushing against Ohio State this year.
Yeah.
No, he is a legitimate first-round draft pick. He catches the ball as well as any back out of the backfield, and he's only getting better, folks.
Hold on. Well, hold on a second, Jimmy.
He
Let
is
him
a
finish.
Heisman candidate.
Well, he is like he's low rung Heisman candidate. He's sort of
very low.
Yeah, he's like he's under the radar.
He'll be in New York, and James Conner won't be.
Okay, so you're
telling you
that's
right
true.
James
That's
Conner
true.
plays for the University of Pittsburgh.
Well, what he's saying, Jimmy, is because of his dominance in the Big Ten this year.
He plays that.
Well,
if James Conner, let's say if James Conner, right, plays for Clemson, if James Conner played for Alabama or even Penn State, James Conner would be in
Well,
in New
James,
York City. Because James Conner plays for the University of Pittsburgh, a school that has not had a football tradition in how many years?
Okay.
That's why.
Jimmy, I'm not. Listen.
James Conner had cancer, and he still won ACC Player of the Year.
But here's the deal. If he were to play for Clemson, Alabama, he probably would not have the dominance he has with Pitt because of who they play. Okay, well, here again, I'll be glad when the elections are over tomorrow because then, no, seriously, then people will settle down and act like, hey, I'm not going to try to talk over this other guy. It's Monday Night Sports Talk, and that's cool, Jimmy, because I understand where you're coming from. Barkley. But, Dave, what do you think about Barkley and his chances of maybe, not the Heisman, but at least a Big Ten Player of the Year?
I don't know that he's going to be up for that because that's going to end up, Michigan or Ohio State is going to produce those accolades, those titles.
Well, probably Michigan this year, yeah.
Just because of who they are and the records that they have, and it just goes on and on. So don't worry about that. Here's what speaks volumes. Everywhere, anytime I hear Saquon Barkley being talked about, he will play only one more year. He's a sophomore this year. Mm-hmm. He will play his junior year, and he will be off to the NFL.
Yeah,
that is the prevailing theory. And unless something major would happen to him injury-wise, I totally agree with that. And ultimately, that's what these kids are out. It's great to get the awards, but how many Heisman Trophy winners do we know that have gone into the NFL and just absolutely fell flat in their face?
Right.
It happens.
Hey, where is a quarterback for Penn State from a couple years ago?
Hackenberg?
Yeah. Whose clipboard is he holding this year?
The Jets.
Okay, there you go. And they can't make up their mind who's going to be the quarterback in that town. They got at least 4 of them, And you can't keep 4 quarterbacks on the sideline. But Jimmy, we love you, man. And you had to say what you had to say, and it's all good. But let me ask you this. Pitt, man, they got blown up the other night when they played Miami. Now they got to take on Clemson. That's not going to be pretty, buddy. What do you think about that game coming up?
Good luck. Pitt's schedule, the top half of the schedule was easy for us.
Right.
Now we're going into our heart of the season.
Schedule, yeah.
We lost against Miami. We lost against Virginia Tech.
Right.
We beat Virginia. Now we're going to go against Clemson. We are bowl eligible right now because we have our 6 wins. Pitt is bowl eligible.
Okay.
As long as we can get 2 more wins, we could at least get maybe a bigger bowl game.
We'll send you to the Pinstripe Bowl this year. How's that?
Well, right now they're looking at the Pinstripe Bowl.
That's what I said. See? Yeah. Okay.
Have
fun.
Good because we could get a lot of fans up in New York City, but it would be great to get a Fiesta Bowl or something like that for the ACC or Orange Bowl, whatever it is. But no, against Clemson, they are a legitimate team. They're going to be in the college football playoffs in one of the Final 4,
right?
Along with Washington, along with Michigan, and along with Alabama.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can pull the upset, which the game is on ABC at 3:30, by the way.
Yep.
If we can pull that upset, it's going to be pretty big for the school.
Monday Night Sports Talk. Chad, weigh in there, Chad. Before I go any further, and I don't have the schedule in front of me. Penn State, do they take on Indiana this week? Is that
they play Indiana this week, Rutgers, and then they close out with Michigan State.
Well, Michigan State, even that could be an indicator of things to come. That could be 3
Not really.
Well, 3 wins in a row.
Have you seen Michigan State lately?
Well, I'm just saying.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that could be a win.
Amazing.
Yeah. That could be a win for Penn State, so they could win out this season. Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, Dave, what is your prediction of this Clemson-Pitt game that's coming up now? Let's get some indication on what you're thinking about that, and then Chad and then Jimmy, predictions.
Geez, that's Clemson 50, Pitt 25.
Oh, easy.
I mean, that's just a nasty setup. I'm going to be curious about one thing. Pat Narduzzi's background, correct, is with Michigan State as a defensive coordinator.
That's Michigan State.
I'm going to be curious to see as time goes on, and if he does decide to stay there, what kind of defense Pitt's going. Because to be honest with you, that's all that team is missing.
Right.
I think offensively, that's a pretty darn good football team.
Okay.
But they just don't have the defense to shut anybody down. And you got a guy coming to you as a head coach who was a defensive coordinator at a major Division I school. I'm going to be curious to see what Pat does as the Coach Narduzzi, I should say. It's not like I know him. You know, we go eat lunch on Tuesdays. So Coach Narduzzi, it's going to be interesting to see how he develops the defense as time goes on.
Yeah.
But this week, there's not much he can do between the Miami game and the Clemson game, and so they're just going to get their butts handed to them.
And I'm thinking, Chad, it's about to be a track meet coming up on Saturday. Any prediction of that score?
Oh, I'm with Dave, 50-20. I'll just echo what he said. It's going to be, a big gap. If they couldn't stop Miami's quarterback, how the heck are they going to stop Clemson's?
Well, that's true.
You know, the guy should have won. The guy could have won the Heisman last year, for crying out loud. They're not going to stop them at all.
And Jimmy
it's gonna get ugly.
Jimmy, you feed at the trough of the Pitt Panthers. Hail to Pitt. Any indication on what your score prediction will be?
Well, first off, Deshaun Watson's going to just blow it up in the air. Our defensive backs, and that's the thing. Everybody talks about Pitt's defense. Our defensive linemen and our linebackers are good.
Yeah.
What hurts Pitt Panthers are our secondary. And college football teams like Clemson and Dabo Swinney knows that. Throw the ball because Pitt's defensive backs can't do jack. So saying that, it's gonna be competitive, I say, but Clemson's gonna end up winning the game. It's gonna be a very high scoring game. Let's say 45-42 Clemson.
And that's being
Pitt's offense.
Yeah.
Woo!
That's being kind to Pitt, I think. But we'll
I'd
see.
say.
Clemson's going to win the game.
We'll see how things work out. Monday Night Sports Talk here on the airnetwork.net. By the way, you can always Skype us if you like. Greg Banks 3. You can we'll bring you in. You can chat with us a little bit if you like to. We'll put you on the air. Haven't had many takers yet because we really don't promote it because I like hanging out with my buds, Chad States in Huntington, Dave Shannon, Altoona, and Jimmy Ty in the Philadelphia area. Dave, that last poll that came out Tuesday, and I think another one comes out tomorrow as we tape this show, or actually do it live on Mondays, we had Alabama number 1. I believe Michigan, Clemson number 2 and 3, and then somehow Washington should have been number 4, but Texas A&M is in there. Texas A&M got blown out, I believe. Did they get beat by Louisville or somebody over the weekend, guys? Texas A&M.
Texas.
Oh,
Wasn't it Texas A&M?
I'm not sure if that's who it was.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State beat them, right? I mean, basically a team that comes from nowhere. Obviously, these pollsters are getting it wrong. What happened to Ohio State, if you guys can recall that, Dave? And who's going to be in the top 4 this week? We know Alabama just barely got by LSU the other day. I mean, hell, there was no score, I don't even think, till the 3rd or 4th quarter of that game, Dave.
4th quarter. Yeah.
So how do you
Here's
see?
the thing. By the way, CBS, just don't show us any more damn Alabama games. That was it. That's the only one that's going to be competitive until they play for the championship.
You
can show us that game.
Yeah.
Keep them off the frickin' television from now till then. I don't want to see them.
Put them on the
I'm
SEC.
Sick of them.
Put them on the SEC network on ESPN.
Yeah, put them on the SEC network, ESPN. That's the only place they should be.
Okay.
They're wasting my time. I'm sick of Alabama. And then you get to hear any number of the color commentators. Oh, Lane Kiffin.
They're all homers.
Oh, Lane Kiffin. Oh, Lane Kiffin. Shut up! Anyway.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you got that out, man.
Alabama will probably still, I don't know, maybe Michigan moves up, but they played Maryland, and they drubbed Maryland, and everybody's probably doing a ho-hum over that. LSU played them tight, and the bottom line is Alabama walked away with a win. I think your new team, in my opinion, the new team that should be in the top 4 is Washington. I think the Huskies deserve to be there.
I think they're the only undefeated, along with Alabama, still kind of in the FCS. I think at this point, anyhow.
Michigan.
That's right. Michigan's there. All right, Chad, how do you see the top 4 this week? What should it be this week? And I know we're still ways away.
Yeah, and Alabama should be number 1. Their defense is legit, guys.
Man.
I mean, that's the thing. They're shutting out people. That defense is as good as anybody's right now in college football.
Right.
I think Michigan is number 2 in the country.
Okay.
I think that Wilton Speight now has the offense under control. They're rolling. They're doing to teams what they should do to teams. They should have blown out Maryland, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget that Penn State's going to be ranked 10th or 12th now, coming up in these new polls, and they blew them out of the water.
That's true.
So, Michigan, to me, should be number 2. I think Clemson comes in as another undefeated team. They should be number 3 in the poll. No reason to change that. And, today's point, I think Washington should have been 4 last week.
Yeah.
The reason they're not is because the Pac-12 is not getting any respect or having any credibility with any of these voters at all.
Oh, those West Coast games are so late. Yeah.
Right, with Texas A&M losing, so now you have to go back to who you think the best one-loss team is. It's probably Louisville. Well, Louisville's probably not going to get into that top 4 yet, but they're close. But I think that I really think that Washington sneaks in there
Number
as well.
4.
They should be.
Yeah, okay. Monday Night Sports Talk. Jimmy, your prediction on the top 4 for this week, because, again, the polls will change every week. The pollsters, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, Condoleezza Rice is still on that poll. She sits with those people, and there's a bunch of other, people that are either politically inclined or they're involved somehow in politics. How do you see it, Jimmy? Because what you say is what should be.
That's right. Now,
well, wait a second, because I was going to ask you who's winning the election tomorrow, but never mind. Just give us the top 4.
top 4 will be Washington at number 4.
Okay.
The winner of the ACC, which is going to be Clemson.
Okay.
Michigan's going to be number 2, and
Bama.
Dave's buddy Lane Kiffin's going to be number 1.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin should go get a full-time job, but he probably can't. He's probably best working with Saban and stick it and keep it there. That's where I was
I
saying.
swear to God, last year,
Kirk
Herbstreit
Oh.
made that game sound like Blue Saban didn't exist.
Exactly, or Nick Saban. Yeah, it's like
Or
Kiffin.
Nick Saban, yeah.
Like it was Kiffin's game, I think, or his team. Yeah,
The
unreal.
thing about
Oh, my
all
God.
The thing about college football, right, is especially with Kirk Herbstreit,
Right.
okay, and I've been noticing this. He favors certain coaches and certain players.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Never,
Yeah, no
you
doubt.
never hear him ever talking about Sharkey Barkley from Penn State.
Right.
You never hear him talking about James Conner from Pitt.
Yeah.
You never hear him talking about the guy, what's his name, from San Diego State, who's leading the country in rushing.
Yeah.
No, it's always, Lane Kiffin. It's always Deshaun Watson. And now it's Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Herbstreit, yeah, he won Emmy Awards in broadcasting.
I don't know how.
But he favors certain teams, just like that Paul Feinbach.
Hey,
He
Dave.
should be freaking off the air. Don't get me started on him like I did a few weeks ago.
Hey, Dave. Charles Barkley's won a couple Emmys. That should tell you something about
Yeah.
Emmys, Jimmy.
So basically, like Dave said, keep Alabama off the darn air.
Hey,
Put other football games on.
You're
But
terrible.
I like Charles.
You're terrible, Jimmy. Monday Night Sports Talk here on the airnetwork.net. I know Chad States and Huntington getting a little laughter going there, but let's get to some important stuff, guys. That GOAT is dead. We didn't get a chance to talk about it because the World Series came down to Game 7. How many of you guys said it was going to go 7 games? Seriously now.
I did.
Okay,
I
Dave,
said 7,
you said
and
it.
I picked Cleveland.
All right, and Chad, I
So-
don't think we got
It's
got a
Chicago.
chance. Okay, and you.
Yeah, but you didn't go 7, Jimmy.
No, you didn't go
were
7.
way short of that. I think you said 5.
You said 5,
Yeah.
Jimmy, and I think I did say 7, and I thought Chicago too. So, having said that, let me start with Chad, the out guy who wasn't on the show. Then we'll go to Dave and then Jimmy. I'm going to say, in my lifetime, Chad, I've never, ever experienced a series like that one. That is one for all ages. What's your thought?
Yeah, there's only one other one, and that was in 1991 when the Twins took on the Braves, and you had the Jack Morris 10-inning game where the Twins won 1-0, and
Game
the Kirby
7.
Puckett, Game 6 when he jumped up and made that leaping catch at the wall.
At the wall.
That's the only other series that I can remember that even equates to this one. And I don't even know that one does, because you're
Yeah.
looking at here is 2 teams with epic droughts of winning a World Series, and
Right.
two fan bases that are just thirsting for that to happen to their teams. When you're looking at Cleveland and Chicago going at it, and for 7 games,
My God.
the nation
Yeah.
was riveted to that to that sport.
Yeah.
They were absolutely glued in. Baseball was beating football.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, baseball beat out Monday Night Football, for crying out loud, in ratings. Why? Because you had 2 teams in there that everybody was interested in, and secondly, players in baseball are allowed to celebrate if they do something good. So it was actually fun to watch.
Well, you know what?
But,
Yeah.
listening to Goodell, that was fun to watch. But
Man.
Greg, to your point, I don't know that we will see another one in our lifetime that can equate to that.
To that one. There's
It
no
was
doubt.
wonderful to see. Baseball was, on a high podium, and
Yeah.
they capped it off great. And hats off to the league and to the game.
Dave, that certainly made a point that it is still America's game as far as I'm concerned. I grew up with baseball. I grew up in the Ernie Banks era, Boog Powell, if you will, Clemente. I mean, Willie Mays, Aaron. This year, I got an education. I saw some young guys, especially those Chicago guys. I mean, 7 games, all the drama, the rain delay. Come on, man, we're still up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning celebrating. It was unreal, Dave.
It was actually something that, baseball, because it just keeps getting slammed. And I hear some people talking about soccer taking over in popularity to baseball.
They said that 30 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it was so good to see. And here's the other thing. And I think it speaks well for the future, too, because of the fact what you're saying, Greg, is there's so many young guys on those 2 teams. You talk about 2 teams with such similar makeups in the fact that they had a lot of young guys, and then they had this spattering of like 3 guys that have been around the game for a reasonable length of time.
Pappy Rose, yeah.
And,
some of those guys, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the makeup of that, I think would have brought the millennials maybe back to baseball.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, Pittsburgh's done a good job getting They have that student night every Friday at Pirates home games. And that's brought in a better youth audience there.
Well, I think this series did a lot to bring those young demos back to baseball, or at least, inform them about baseball, because I think they were watching, Dave. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it was a great World Series to watch. I was, as Chad said, riveted. I was riveted to this World Series. I'm a big baseball fan,
right?
And I enjoyed every minute of it. And how much better can it be than to go to Game 7 and have it go into extra innings, and then just to add a little extra to it, let's have a rain delay too.
Which I thought, my God, I'll be up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Jimmy, I know you were getting home late probably. I didn't know if you were watching the World Series or not, but give us your thoughts on that World Series and, of course, the performance of the Cubs.
First off, everybody's going to remember, yes, I did watch the World Series, every single game, but everybody's going to remember where they were the night the Chicago Cubs finally broke the curse.
Yeah.
I was in a bar having a drink or 2, but watching the game on TV.
Right.
The rain delay was, I call it Tears from Heaven.
Okay. Yeah.
Tears from Heaven from Ernie Banks and all the greats.
Ron Santo. Yeah.
That's it was just like a magical. When Rajay Davis hit that home run in the 8th inning, it was like, oh my God, here we go again. Dexter Fowler with that home run in the 1st, and then top it all off, David Ross.
Oh yeah.
In his final
old man, 40 years old.
Final at bat in the major leagues with the home run.
You couldn't have written a script.
You couldn't write a script better than that.
Jimmy, you weren't one of those guys in the bar that night after the game was all over. You were hugging on people going, I love you, man.
No, in fact, honestly, as soon as I'm going to Chicago in a couple of days, right?
That's right, yeah.
And my cousin lives right by Wrigley Field, so I'm excited to see Wrigley Field on Monday.
Wow.
This Monday coming up. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching. And I'm like, man, I wish they're going to have the parade. I wish there's going to be there whenever I'm there and this and that.
Yeah,
no,
too late.
They already had it with 5 million people.
5 million people. You'd have got crushed. It'd have been like a Who concert.
Crushed, first off. But no, I was watching the game, and I basically fell off the bar stool.
Yeah.
From jumping.
And Jimmy doesn't drink, by the way.
The Cubs finally broke the curse.
Isn't that unreal? And how about the story of the guy that went to listen to the final game at his dad's gravesite because he always told him, we'll listen to the World Series together. He didn't even flinch an eye. He said, I'm going to go take my radio and I'm going to the graveyard to listen to this final game with my dad. And somebody said to him on a national talk show, they're like, well, were you looking towards heaven? He goes, hell no, my dad raised a lot of hell when he was down here. He said no.
Greg, and the other thing I want to say about this World Series, and then I'll be quiet, that this game, you had like the Joe Carter against Mitch Williams home run.
Yeah.
What was it, in 93? Chad said about Kirby Puckett, right? Yeah, Bill Mazeroski's home run.
Yep.
These are all memorable games, but nothing's going to compete
Nothing.
to this series.
Series, right.
Chicago, 108 years. Cleveland, what was it, Chad? Like 40-some years?
Mhm.
Or whatever it is?
Hey, Jimmy, you will have World Series moments like Buckner losing that ball between his legs, which was not even the seventh game of the series.
Nothing's going to compare to this series.
Never.
All the drama that happened, especially in that one game.
That's right.
One game said it all.
All right. Best of luck to you, Chicago Cubs fans. I even gave them props on Facebook that night. I said they deserved it. Anybody that would hang out that long deserved it. Real quick, Dave and Chad, let me give Chad and Dave the final word on this. Chad, how do you bring Chapman in? You almost wear the guy out. Why did they take Hendricks out? I have no understanding of that.
I don't know.
Why do you take him out?
I thought Joe Matt almost blew the whole 108 year drought there by doing that.
Exactly.
Hendricks should have stayed that ball game.
No
he
doubt.
He just pitched Chapman 3 innings the night before.
Yeah.
Chapman's not built for that. That guy is an extreme power.
He's
pitcher.
he's an inning or two. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's even an inning. When you're throwing 103 miles an hour,
Ooh.
you're really. I mean that's a lot of stress on your body. He's not built for multiple innings. But Hendricks could possibly win the Cy Young in the National League. In fact, he might even be favored to do so coming up here in the next week or two.
Right, and
he shouldn't have been taken out of the game. But I think Joe Madden panicked.
Yeah.
And said, "I got to get to my bullpen and pull him." I really do.
Well, we had Hendricks, Dave, and then I think Lester came in. Then we had Chapman come in, or was it the other way around? It just seemed so unusual that he would pull Hendricks out. I think there were only 2 outs, and I don't understand that.
The entire series was handled that way by both managers.
Yeah.
I've never seen more early exits by starters in a series of any kind than what happened during this one. Hey, that's the way he managed it the whole time. If it's me, I'm doing the same thing. The kid only threw what at that point? Like, was it 80 pitches?
Yeah, I think it was 82 pitches or something like that. Yeah.
And it wasn't that much. He still looked good to me. And, it was almost like, well, hey, we sat down before this game started, and it's Hendricks this many innings, and then we're going to go to Lester. Now, here was the weird thing about going to John Lester at that point was he said to all the media beforehand, I will not bring him in a quote-unquote dirty inning.
Right.
In other words, there were people on base, and there were already outs in the inning, and he would not bring him in. He wanted to bring him in with a fresh start.
Yeah.
And he went completely against that. He brought him in a dirty inning.
Yeah, exactly.
And which ended up not paying off. But then Lester ends up, getting his feet underneath him, and, he does really well. And there isn't a pitcher on that staff of either team that didn't want to be a part of that Game 7.
Oh, no doubt.
Whatever you need me to do, I'll be there.
Right.
And but it goes on. I agree with Chad. I mean, I think we talked about this, or maybe
a couple weeks ago. I imagine you and I did.
Yeah. That how in the heck can you put Aroldis Chapman out there for that many innings and then expect to be able to go back to him? And all closers, to Chad's point, all closers are built to pitch one inning, get 3 outs, and you're done.
Melanson was that man, and oftentimes, we used him longer than we should have. I mean, that's exactly what happened. So, anyhow, Monday Night Sports Talk here on the Air Network, and there's another example as well. Hey, before we wrap it up, we got about 5-6 minutes here. Chad, give us a rundown on District 6 football real quick, and then I want to go to Dave with the Penguins. District 6, Huntington taking on Central coming up on Friday night after pounding. It was Forest Hills, which is unusual, by the way, Dave, because we remember Forest Hills and, of course, how tough those guys were. But Huntington actually beat them 54-20, was it, Chad, on Saturday night?
54 to yeah, it was 54 to 20
or 54-30.
to 30.
Yeah.
The thing you didn't see out of Forest Hills that you typically do was big, strong linemen. They were actually really weak up. They have a great quarterback coming through.
That young kid, Cesare.
Sophomore Cesare.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's about 6'2", 220 pound sophomore that can throw the football and run it too. Very hard to bring down, and he's good looking. But the thing about Forest Hills is they had no offensive line or defensive play at all, and
Okay.
Huntington just bulldozed them.
Well, give us
Now,
a rundown
I don't
on this
expect
Friday's
that same thing.
No, give us a rundown on Friday's game because it seems like this Hohenstein kid is the kid that we need to be watching on Friday night.
He's every bit a Division I, high Division II type of football.
Okay, Chad's breaking up a little bit. I don't know why, but we're losing there, Chad. Hey, well, hold a
A
second.
78-yard run to begin the game.
Okay. All right, well, listen, we will talk more about Huntington. Of course, we'll have a little preview on our website at theairnetwork.net. Don't forget, airtime 6:40 on Friday and kickoff at 7 o'clock. Dave, I haven't been following the Penguins except for the fact that they took 2 from the Sharks. I think, or maybe 1 from the Shark, with Sid having 2 goals on Saturday. I missed that altogether.
It was one of the goals was just absolutely sick. He's coming down the ice, and he only has one hand on his stick, and he has 2 defenders, 2 Sharks on him.
Wow.
And he flicks his wrist and beats the goalie.
Really?
It was just sick. I actually sat here. Normally, I don't laugh. Normally, I sit here and it's like, I'm just in awe sometimes of what Sidney Crosby can do. But he did that, and I actually sat here and laughed. It was just unbelievable, the type of player he is. They win the game 5-0.
Right.
And it was a Matt Murray start. Now, here's another thing. Already, you want to look at this. Murray's done 2 games now, and he's won both of them. And I think his goals against is probably less than 1 at this particular point. And, so Fleury's had some games where he's given up some reasonable amounts of goals. So is this going to happen early? Are we going to have the Fleury-Murray debate early in the season? I don't know. It could happen. Here's what's coming up tomorrow night, though. Better, way better than watching election returns. Penguins, Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid will be playing the Pittsburgh Penguins for the first time since he became an Edmonton Oiler, because last year when the Pens played Edmonton at Edmonton, he was injured. So this is the first time that Connor McDavid will be playing, the new Sidney Crosby versus Sidney Crosby.
Right, yeah.
Because people will be talking about Connor McDavid for a lot of years to come.
Well, all I care, Dave, I hope that game's on early because, man, I can't stay up till 10:30, 11 o'clock.
No, it's at Pittsburgh.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, no, all the games this week are in Pittsburgh. After that, they take on the Minnesota Wild on Thursday. That's a 7 o'clock game.
Right.
And they wrap things up on Saturday, 7 o'clock game when they host the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, man, I'm looking forward to the Penguin season. And, of course, we still have lots of football to play. Chad, you're going to be there along with Jim Zalzik on Friday night in Martinsburg, right?
That's right.
Okay, good. There he is. Just want to make sure you're still with us. Hey, Jimmy, how about them Eagles, man? Wetzelvania, what happened to him?
Rookie, he's hitting the rookie wall.
All right. You don't think Dak Prescott's going to hit that wall at some time this season?
No, because you have Zeke Elliott back there.
Okay, well, I hope if he's going to hit, for the sake of Dave Shannon, Chad States, and yours truly, Greg Banks, and we'll even include you, Jimmy, because you're from Western PA, where we're all, of course, kind of Steeler fans. We hope Dak has a bad game on Sunday. How's that?
Oh, man.
Let's give him some rookie blues. How's that sound? All right. Hey, Dave, Chad, Jimmy, thank you, man, for being on Monday Night Sports Talk with me, all right?
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Anytime.
And by the way, go Cats. We'll see you next Monday.